Hello there trainers! Greetings! KuroBlitz here and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. So today I'm here to bring another topic and another what if when it comes to the Pokemon anime, and I do believe that this is one that many people have been, wondering about because Ash is going to leave in the coming spring when April arrives. So now with aim to be a Pokemon Master, or in Japan Master Pokemon Master, it's the final epilogue of Ash's adventures. It's a mini-series within PM 2019 or Pokemon Journeys, and it's only 11 episodes. It's half of the Decolor Islands, with Ash now traveling with Misty and Brock and meeting old Pokemon and helping wild Pokemon while being evaluated by a random Latias in order to, one day realize that he is already a Pokemon Master because he bonds with everyone he meets. It's a good message, it's a basic message, but that kind of deteriorates the value of why was Ash battling for 25 years if the point of being a master is this, right? It kind of feels weird, and I do get it. Many people are believing that this is just, pointless send-off filler. However, OLM, the studio that makes Pokemon, this was their narrative forte, this was their formula. Just misadventure and meandering. Big plots did happen afterwards, yes, and it's not wrong of the fans for wanting a big plot for the finale, because we were accustomed to that standard for years and decades. I will say this, I would have not minded if this kind of epilogue was to be done after Johto, to conclude the original series. That way Latias would be a mystery because it's a Hoenn Pokemon, right? And I get it. Latias is the Pokemon of Infinity, so evaluating Ash, it's understandable. Granted, I really believe that, in this kind of adventure, this ain't the place. This ain't it. After 26 years, this finale, it's not acceptable in my eyes. I understand the why it's being done and how it's being done. After 6 years, I could have buy it. After the end of Gen 2, sure. After the end of Gen 8 and making Ash the world champion, as dubious and as loopholey as it is, sorry, no, I cannot accept such epilogue. And this is why it comes to me, yours truly, KuroBlitz, as per usual and always, to give my version of Ash's Epilogue. So, just a disclaimer, I'm going to make rotating Pokemon and I'm going to make rotating cast members, but instead of 11 episodes, I'm going to give Ash 25 episodes of send-off, because he was with us with 25 years. 26, but then we got breaks and I hate this in the Porygon situation, so whatever. 25, Pikachu's number. I hope that you are ready, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get started with Ash's Epilogue, my version. Without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so in the first episode, we see Ash going back to Alola because it's the region that he's the champion of, and he's going to be with, all of the Pokemon that he left there, because Naganadel is in the Ultra Space, so that's why they aren't here. But he spends time with these, Pokemon, Pikachu, Rotom-Dex, and the other 4, and Ash is invited to basically inaugurate the battle tree. If this is Ash's post-game, we should utilize post-game landmarks, and I believe the battle tree will be a good way for Ash to foster the trainers of the region that, he's a champion of, and it will be, a good episode for Ash to start to realize what a Pokemon Master is or what it is meant to be. Now, for the second episode, it's still in Alola, but it's going to be focused around, Team Rocket. Team Rocket, because, Giovanni and Nanu, etc., they are in Ula Ula Island and they are in the Lake of the Moon. We saw the Altar of the Sun, we never saw the Lake of the Moon. They are trying to do whatever plot you want for them to do. I want to keep this ambiguous for the fans, and the viewers to get their gears, turning with creativeness, right? But they are in Alola. It's not globetrotting, they are going to be in Alola, and the plot is going to center around an old Magirna because Lily's was a shiny, and a shiny Marshadow because, it's purple, right? And, we got the purple from Pony, and the red from Ula Ula, and it's a nod to Scarlet and Violet, right? We get the mythicals of Ghost, Marshadow because of Lunala, the emissary of the moon, and we get the mythical of Steel, Magirna, because of Solgaleo, the emissary of the sun. And in this episode, Ash would, battle Team Rocket, and this is start to basically have Team Rocket wonder if they want to continue or not, because I want for the trio to, dismantle from Giovanni, and for Giovanni to have, a finale better than the 10-minute battle that he actually had with Red in Origins, right? But it starts here. This is where it all gets cemented. And in the Lake of the Moon, Ash would meet Nebby, right? Solgaleo. He would meet Nebby, and he and Nebby, they would, go around the world. Maybe, I don't know, but they could go around the world. Because, as we know, in the Ashs Pokemon Master miniseries, Ash has 5 Pokemon. Pikachu rotating 4, and the 6th spot that it's most likely being saved for Latias, not here. In this miniseries, Ash and Solgaleo are going to tour the world with whoever they meet. It's going to be Ash and Nebby. It's Ash's son, S-U-N, not S-O-N. It's Ash's golden son trying to reach out Owo, the other golden son, right? This is just, a little prompt that I always believed that, that Solgaleo should battle Ho-Oh in some way, shape, or form. But that's besides the point. Ash would still have rotating 4 Pokemon. And since Rotom, it's not his Pokemon, Rotom Dex would, join the ride because Lusamine and Moan return to the Aether Paradise. So it's Ash, Solgaleo, Rotom Dex, that could have good interactions with Ash's Rotoform, may I add. So yeah. And now let's go for the actual adventure with episode 3. This is when companions start to return. But it's going to be a Latias and Misty focused episode. Because, Poke shipping, Automara shipping, whatever, fan service for OS. And it's going to take place in Passio. Ash's aimless and directionless journey. If you want for him to see all of types of environments but keep it ambiguous, and he could travel with Solgaleo like wormholes and whatever more, like basically teleporting all around, I believe that the journey for Ash's End should be taking place in Passio. But don't state that it's the Passio region. Don't have Team Break, don't have Leer, don't have Red and game characters. It's just, an original version of Passio. Also to make sure that, people still scout for Ash in Pokemon Masters EX, right? But yeah, this is, the idea that I have for episode 3. Now as for episode 4, this is where it starts to get interesting, because the episode 4, it's going to be focused around Misty, helping out Fione and Manaphy because of Lana. But it's also going to be the episode where, we are going to see the return of Ash's Lapras. This is just, something that, I think it should be always tackled, because, Misty and Lapras, they never share the big of a connection, and I think that they should. And, I really want for Ash's companions and Ash's Pokemon, old and new alike, to all have their own shine in the spotlight without anyone, just scrutinizing their screen time, right? I don't want for character assassination, bastardization, or worst, flanderization. Everyone gets an equal chance, and that's why I made these being 25 episodes instead of 11, right? And now with episode number 5, we do get the return of Tracy, and it's going to be an episode that's going to, just, silly banter, just, misadventure. Again, it's the aimless journey, but, they could have Corphish, Oshawott, Totodile, and Kingler in this scenario, right? And now, as for episode number 6, this is going to start to get interesting. We do see it's a Tracy-focused episode, right? It's going to oblige the return of Ash's Pidgeot, who Tracy never met, and Ash's Pidgeot, it's going to, battle a random Rayquaza in this episode. Why Rayquaza? Because I think it's cool. Shut up, that's why. And I think that, and Misty would, go away after the end of this episode, because this is something that I want to do. I want to mix and match characters. We just have Ash in Alola with his buddies. We have Ash with Team Rocket, Ash and Misty, and then it's Misty focused. Ash, Misty, and Tracy, and then it's Gary focused, and Misty goes, and someone would come after her to help Tracy. This is, I want to have odd pairings like how we got with the Pokemon. Like, the odd pairings of Pokemon in Mesa Set, they are not bad, but it's very clear that some of them are just there for, you know, have their screen time quota and they don't do anything. Case in point, in the Corphish episode, what the hell was Totodile doing? Nothing. And Totodile, it's a hyperactive Pokemon, for God's sakes. Anyhow, episode 7 would be the return of Gary. So we get the Gary and Tracy interaction, you know, the grandson and the pupil of Professor Oak. And the Pokemon that are going to be here are going to be Infernape, Gengar, Bulbasaur, and Charizard. So we do see Ash's Kanto start with interact with Gary, we do see Gengar interacting with Infernape, so we still get the journeyism of it, but it's still present. And now, for episode number 8, it's going to be Gary focused, because Gary is going to, you know, face Galarian Moltres, and I feel like Infernape and Charizard being here, it's great. And Gengar being here to face Moltres would also be great, and Tracy could also, you know, get some lead-in to some extent. But this is the episode where Ash's Squirtle returns, and Ash's Squirtle would become a War Turtle in this episode by battling Moltres and also with the help of Gary's Blastoise. I know that Ash getting a War Turtle, it's very taboo, but I like it. It's my what if, I can do whatever I want. And sorry for the coughing, guys. It was Moltres, like the dark embers, you know, in the charcoal and whatever. That's actually a cool idea that I didn't put on the video, but you know, I'm not gonna edit this. As an addendum, Team Rocket are still going to use the Gacha machine, but they are going to use the Gacha machine with the Pokemon from the headquarters, okay? So, and maybe they would reunite with Wheezing and Arbok in here. Anyhow, episode number 9, it's the return of Dawn. And Dawn and Gary would interact with each other like how they did with Diamond and Pearl. And the episode in question is going to have, you know, the 3 ground types of Sinnoh being Torterra, Gliscor, and Gible. And we are also going to get, you know, Staraptor. So these are, you know, very interesting Pokemon, especially the ground types, because Gary would, you know, most likely train to now be the new Viridian gym leader that, you know, Giovanni was there with ground types. And, you know, it's Sinnoh Pokemon, it's Dawn, I don't have, you know, much to say. Maybe you can get, you know, Torterra against Mamoswine and so on and so forth. It's just casual, it's just, you know, casual meandering and misadventure with mismatches, right? However, for episode number 10, and this is going to be a Dawn-focused episode, Dawn would be the one to, you know, reunite with Ambipom, and while they are in the Paseo Wilderness, they would see Galarian Zapdos, you know, just roaming around. And I do believe this could be, you know, a nice episode, just to, you know, try to showcase what Journeys didn't when it comes to Galar Pokemon. And if this is Ash's post-game and the mini-series, it's basically a DLC, having DLC Pokemon, it's not odd. So I don't have any issues with Dawn having a focus episode where, you know, she reunites with Ambipom and we get, you know, a mandatory Zapdos cameo or whatever. So yeah, as for episode number 11, this is going to be the return of Iris, and the Pokemon that are going to be in this episode are Snivy, Crocodile, Scraggy, and Weasel. I just want for you to understand something, because Ambipom returned, I want for you to either evolve Weasel into a Floatzel or for Scraggy to become a Scrafty while battling Haxorus, right? The reason why Snivy and Crocodile are here is because they are reptilians, so we still get, you know, dragon stuff, right? And speaking of dragon stuff, for Iris, she would get episode 12 all for herself, and we would get the return of Naganadel, right? And it's also a nod for her sync pair in Master ZX. And this would be an episode where we would also see Galarian Articuno. Despite of Galarian Articuno not being an ice type, it can also have ice and frosty type moves. And I feel like Iris, you know, helping out Ash in this situation, it would be very fitting and very cool, pun intended, I'm sorry. But yeah, I feel like this could be a great way to show her mastery of dragons that are not even hers, that they are from other world, and being able to, you know, defeat the birds. If anything, the Galarian birds are basically Operation Tempest 2.0, right? It's a trio of flying type Pokemon. And speaking of Operation Tempest and best wishes, we now go to episode 13 with the return of Silent, and therefore we do get our best wishes trio. And in this episode I'm going to have Boldor, Pig Knight, Pheasant, and Palpitoad. Again, nothing special, it's just, them being in Paseo, just having a picnic, just camping, casual Ash Ketchum filler stuff. But wholesome filler stuff, not egregious and atrocious. Now, because we got the Ground Tundra birds, right? And now we are going to get, for episode 14, Silent trying to connect with Calyrex. This is going to be a Silent episode. Silent in the anime, it's not the grass expert. However, Calyrex can read the minds of people, he can see to the future, so Silent evaluating Calyrex will be cool, especially a Calyrex that doesn't have their steed yet, and this is going to be a good plot point. However, this will be the episode where also Ash's Primate would return, and after getting their beaten up by Calyrex because of the Psychic type, this would be the time where, Primeape would become an Annihilape, and I think it would be a great return to see Annihilape just, battle Calyrex, and, Silent trying to evaluate them and seeing the Pokemon's limitless potential going even beyond the living realm. I think it would be cool, right? And Silent had their little screams with, Ghostmon, so there's that too. Now, as for episode number 15, we do get the return of Clement and also Bonnie. She's not here because, I'm just doing, duos, but Bonnie is here. It's not in the picture, but, in the adventure. We get the return of them, so we get, the special from X and Y after the Alexa and Sycamore one, right? In Lumios with the trains and whatever. And because of that, we are going to get the Kalos flying types of Hawlucha, Noivern, and Talonflame in this episode, but also Leavanny. Again, I want to tackle Silent's initial game expertise of grass types and also have Leavanny into the picture. And it's Leavanny, it's a cute mon, maybe they could, have, leaf hats for the Dane and whatever more. And it's a Pokemon that evolves via friendship. I always believe that, Leavanny should have, a crucial role into the story, right? So, we get Clement back with Silent, and in the next episode, number 16, it's a Clement-focused episode where his inventions are trying to, get the energy and the fairy aura from Xerneas to help Dedenne or whatever. And this is where we get to see the return of Ash's Goodra. I feel like Ash's Goodra, he had his fair share against Sawyer Slurpuff, but I feel like, Goodra and Xerneas, they are protectors of their homelands, right? A fairy kind of realm and the wetlands, so they are protectors of the wilderness. So I feel like, we never got the plot for Xerneas or Yveltal for that matter in the XYZ series or just, XY saga. So I feel like this could be something amazing, and it's also a good way to incorporate Clement's science shtick with Goodra and Xerneas' nature shtick. Now, reuniting the Kalos crew together, in episode 17, we do get the return of Serena. And with the return of Serena, we also get the return of Ash's classic Pokemon to meet, one of his modern, gangs. And those are going to be Muk, Quilava, Bayleaf, and Heracross. Muk would be very affectionate and Bonnie would befriend Muk instantly, may I add. Quilava and Bayleaf being, the middle Johtomons here, I think it would be very cool. And Heracross, it's a Pokemon that, could spar with Clements or even Serena's because, Pancham, right? And it's a Pokemon that could Mega Evolve, however, Ash will not Mega Evolve Heracross. Bayleaf is going to have a big role here because Serena is here, so fighting for Ash's affection. And Bayleaf in this canon, I feel like Bayleaf could become a Meganium here. And the reason being it's because, Bayleaf has Body Slam. I always believe that that move should become Return, a move based on friendship. And that way, Ash has Bulbasaur, Wartortle, Charizard, Totodile, Quilava, and Meganium. He has a starter for every stage when it comes to the first two sagas. So I think that's cool. I just think that's cool. This is a plot for cool stuff to happen. Now, in episode 18, it's just focused around Serena, but we do get to see the return of Greninja who basically destroyed all of the vines, but because of the overpower of the vines and they are basically utilizing and, you know, destroying the nature, we would have for Yveltal to show up because nature is dying in Kalos, and Greninja and Zygarde are trying their best to balance it, but you know, Yveltal is seeing that this is not natural destruction, right? Maybe Yveltal could be summoned with the help of, you know, Serena. She could, like you do, Serena could do, for example, a dance to summon Yveltal. It could be a nice tie-in for her doing the dance to summon Ho-Ho, like how the Kimono Sisters do. And Greninja and Yveltal are both Dark-type Pokemon, so I feel like this plot could happen in some way, shape or form. Now, with Clement and Bonnie now going, we do have the return of May and Max in episode 19. Yes, we don't get to see Bonnie and Max interact, but realistically, we really don't need them. And with the coordinators now here, spectacular or even old school, right? We do get old school Ash Pokemon being Donphan, Tauros, Noctowl, and Snorlax. Donphan and Tauros would remind, you know, Serena of, you know, the Rhyhorn racing stuff. Munchlax, being Maze, could interact with Ash's Snorlax in this particular episode. Noctowl, being, you know, Ash's first shiny, it could, you know, maybe help Delphox with, you know, witchcraft and wizardry. It could help May because she has a Beautifly or whatever, right? And it's like Noctowl, I always saw Noctowl as basically the impetus of the Johto legendaries, the box ones. It's got, like, because Noctowl, it's a golden bird like Ho-Ho, it has psychic moves like Lugia, and it was caught in the Ilex Forest where Celebi lives, right? So I feel like Noctowl here would just be super interesting to see. Now, going back for episode number 20, this is an episode focused on May, but it's going to have the return of Ash's Butterfree that could befriend, you know, May's Beautifly, and it's going to have, you know, the Herald of Spring, that being, you know, Enamorus, the fourth Kami. Maybe Noctowl could battle Enamorus for all that we know. Enamorus, it's the love-hate Pokemon, so I really do think that, you know, Enamorus really needs a role because Enamorus didn't die out or didn't went extinct, it was just, you know, very far in between in the world. So I feel like, you know, having these type of Pokemon in this particular thing, and, you know, more for May, am I right? Heck, Max is here too. For all that we know, Max could be the one to try to, you know, tame Enamorus, because Max is a character that he has a love-hate relationship with several people, and several people have it with him, intrinsically or extrinsically, when it comes to, you know, the anime as well. Anyhow, for the next episode, episode 21, we get the AG crew back together, because we are celebrating, you know, the 20th anniversary of, you know, Advanced Generation, the series and the Jirachi movie, right? So Brock is back, and with Brock being back, Ash's Hoenn Pokemon are back as well, with Glalie, Swallow, Torkoal, and Sceptile. Like, this would just be an amazing stuff for this to happen. Heck, even with Enamorus back then, and the Galarian Birds and Calyrex, Solgaleo would still have his part of the bargain to deal. He would have his fair share of screen time, and Ash could have his legendary, battle other legendaries, right? Very well. Let's continue on now with episode 22, and this will be a Brock-focused episode, where we would see, you know, Brock trying to help a Terrakion, because, you know, we got to see Virizion, right, with, you know, Horus, Tokyo, whatever. So Brock trying to, you know, befriend a Terrakion, just like how Ash did with Beartic now, right? Or maybe Terrakion could be like Latias, right? It's evaluating Brock. And Brock would be the one to take care of, you know, the Larvitar that was once Ash's, that it's going to, you know, return, but it's still going to return here as a Larvitar, and I feel like this could be a great opportunity for Brock to actually capture this Pokemon and become the Tyranitar that he has in Master ZX, because I do like Larvitar and Johto, it's a nice mini arc. I don't like how Larvitar became Ash's responsibility. May got Togepi and Ash got Phanpy. Brock, the breeder, never had an egg Pokemon. The first one he had was Epini in Sinnoh. Yes, he takes care of Bonsly in Battle Frontier, but Brock being the breeder, he never had egg Pokemon. He never had a Ditto in Generation 1. Tracy never got a Smeargle. Let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I feel like Brock should get the Larvitar that it was once Ash's, quote-unquote, because Ash never caught it. And Brock has been with Ash for the longest. I feel like Ash could, understand Brock getting, taking care of his Pokemon. If you guys are wondering how all of Ash's old Pokemon and companions and legendaries are showing up in Pasio, Solgaleo, Ultra Wormholes, they're just popping in and out. Right? They are popping in and out conveniently, but at least there's a narrative excuse and a way to segue that. Speaking of such, for episode 23, this should be the episode where, we do see Team Rocket actually trying to defeat Giovanni because they are just tired of, his comeuppance. Maybe Ash could help them raid the HQ in Kanto and they would get their former Pokemon back. For all that we know, this could be an episode that we could get to see some of, Glastrier and Spectrier, because they have their own identity besides Calyrex, and they are horses, they are knights, they are being pawns. So that's how Jesse and James always felt. I don't know if I would give these legendaries to them. I don't think they really need to, but I really think that we could have a plot with these ones, especially since Agatha was the one Elite Four that took care of Giovanni's gym, so Spectrier is there, and he has Ground Mons, so Glastrier is there, and for all that we know, we could see Mewtwo help them out in the raid. There's a lot of plots, I know, but the point of the matter is, Ash helps Team Rocket to disband Giovanni and everyone, so the organization is no more. And they can do whatever they please. I don't care. If you have ideas, leave in the comments down below. I will very glad listen to them and read them too. And now for the final, not final per se, episode 24, it would be, Ash, returning home, right? And he would reunite with his Journeys team, except Gengar because they already had an episode. And they would see Ho-Ho fly to the top of Mount Silver, and therefore Solgaleo would lead Ash to Mount Silver, and that's how Ash's adventures would ultimately end, and he would realize that he's already a Pokemon Master. As for the juicy bonus, episode 25, to parallel how Ash's friends in Alola were all with him in the Lake of the Moon and the Battle Tree Crisis, episode 25 should be focused on Go and Chloe reuniting during their adventures and basically introduce the world of Pokemon to Liko and Roy. The new OCs are passing the torch to the newer OCs. This would be absolutely immaculate in my eyes. So the Pokemon anime would not even end with Ash per se, but yes, with his disciples passing the torch to a new generation. Because that's what Pokemon was always meant to be. It's a generation after generation story. So there's that. But yeah, I know that this video it's kind of been long for almost half an hour and whatever, but this is what I wanted for Ashs Epilogue, my version at the very least, to be. It's very vague, there are very topics that could be tackled. Many ideas for these episodes are not for 22 minutes, but yes, 45, I know. But I want to listen how you guys feel about the current epilogue of Ash. What you wanted for his finale to be. So make sure to leave your comments down below, let your replies be listened to, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you later, Pokemon trainers. So without further ado, have an amazing journey!